he hits me in the chest. I like slide from like top of the key all the way to like the bottom of the rim.
Yeah.
Like take the charge. After that game, the coaches for UCLA called me. They're like, hey, we just saw, and this is the type of player we're looking for at UCLA. You took a charge. He's like, you're putting your body out there. He's like, we want to offer you a scholarship to UCLA. Like with one play, you know, they hadn't sent me a letter.
Oh,
nothing. So like they hadn't seen me play because there's a new the new coaching staff.
Yeah.
One play, I took a charge. After that game, I get a call, 310 number.
Yeah.
You know, we saw you take a charge. That's the type of players we're looking for at UCLA. We want you to be part of our first recruiting class.
Yo, welcome to another episode of In a Minute with Evan Lovett, coming to you live from the IM studios in the heart of Los Angeles. This is one of my favorite times of year. We're talking about March Madness. Now listen, I'm a baseball guy. You guys know that. But college hoops is very, very special. And this is probably the most special tournament or event in sports as far as I'm concerned. Going back to my days at UCLA, I used to shut everything down for the first 2 days of the tournament and go wire to wire and watch as much of all the games as I could. And of course, I'd be rooting for the Bruins. And you know, times have changed. Obligations have taken the forefront. But we are celebrating this week. And I'm celebrating with a very, very special guest. I have the dude that was a key member of the back-to-back Final Four UCLA Bruins. I want to say in 2006, 7, and 8. And a fan favorite to this day, strolling around UCLA campus at Pauley Pavilion. I'm talking about a Mexican-American superstar before the days of Jamie Jaquez, shout out. But at least as far as I knew, a trailblazer in that community, in this community, LA zone, Huntington Park zone, Southgate High School alum, Lorenzo El Matador Mata. What is up? Welcome to the show, my man.
What up, Nah? Thank you for having me. Happy to be here and always, representing the Bruins.
Yes.
So let's get to it.
Let's get into it. That is awesome. First of all, shout out to our great sponsor, Culver City Toyota. $500 in dealer cash. Go see George for a pre-owned or a new Toyota, Corolla, Camry, Prius, whatever floats your boat or whatever drives your car, I guess you should say. Go down to Culver City Toyota right there on Washington Boulevard. But now we're going to get into some real stuff, some LA stuff, some Westwood pride, some college hoops. Lorenzo Mata. First and foremost, again, thank you for coming on because this is awesome to have you in-house in the studio. What I want to talk about, let's lead with this because it's still unique. You know, there are people breaking down, I don't even want to call it glass ceiling, but there's people making an impact. Mexican Americans or even Mexicans in basketball. It's not super commonplace. And in LA, this is a Mexican city. How does that feel being a trailblazer and just heritage-wise, what does that mean to you, what you accomplished and what you represent?
Nah, to me, it means the world, just because like where I come from, where I grew up, like where my parents come from, like it's not, you don't see it a lot. And now still to this day, I see the guys who, like Jaime, like all these other guys that have made it, like give me the credit, like that, you were like the first one kind of to do it.
Yeah.
So, to me, like representing my culture, representing my parents' country, like it's the best.
Where are your parents from?
It's the smallest state in Mexico. It's Colima, Manzanillo, Colima.
Okay.
It's a beach town. Like it's like if you guys ever go there, like you'll love it. Like the culture is amazing. It's sunny, humid. So like,
where is it located in the
it's
geographically, like, Mexico?
It's like right above Guadalajara, Jalisco.
Okay.
So like it's in those realms. But to me, it's like one of the best places in the world. Just especially where my mom and dad grew up. It's like a smaller town outside the city that you got to drive like 40 minutes to get there, like through the mountains. And then you get there and you just hear like all nature, just cows and like birds. And there wasn't any Wi-Fi until like a couple years ago. So like you used to go there and just disconnect. And it was like amazing.
So my wife's family's from Zacatecas. They're from a small town called Huanusco. And I remember the first year I went there, her abuelo had just gotten cable TV, and he was the first person there that had cable TV. And we were there for the festival in October, and they were watching the MLB playoffs, and like the whole town was like in his house, like watching. So it was cool. And my wife used to say, you say disconnect, which is a good, healthy way to look at it. She said it feels like time stops sometimes, which is a good way, which is how you disconnect and get some good. But okay, so give me their origin story, I guess, just for a little bit. How did they come to the U.S. and why they choose LA?
So my mom, I guess from what I know, found out she was pregnant. My dad came. My dad was, doing whatever he was doing. And so my dad was like, all right, we're going to go to the United States, to Los Angeles. So we could, I don't know if they knew my name. Like when he's born, he could be, born in America, better life. So my mom came, I was born. Then when I was 2, my dad left. But my mom gave me everything. Like my mom gave me like the best life, like worked like 12 hours a day, like everything. But like she came to give me a better life. Right. And to give herself a better shot at giving myself a better life. And so to me, I'm still forever to this day always grateful for my mother. Right. And, and history is, I started playing basketball and I went to the greatest university in the world.
There you go. Okay. So they come directly to LA? Yeah,
directly to LA.
Huntington Park, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah. Huntington Park was where they first lived, was born and lived with my dad's like other sister. So we were in a 2-bedroom apartment. It was like 9 of us in there. So it was like a lot of kids running around, like me and my cousins and all that stuff. And then my mom and I went to Southgate, and then that's where I went to Southgate Middle School and then Southgate High School.
All right, I gotta ask. You're 6'9", 6'9". Where do you get the height first and foremost?
So I get this question a lot, and it's like the only reasonable answer that I could think of is, on my dad's side, I had uncles that were like not 6'9", but they were like 6'2", 6'3". But like my mom, if you see her, my dad, if you see him, like my mom's like 5'5", 5'6". My dad's like probably the same height.
Oh wow!
So it's like I just say they probably made me with a lot of love.
Wow! Yeah, got the extra love for the extra height. Okay. Growing up in Southgate then, because again, let's be honest here. Southgate, great city. Shout out to OG Greenspans. I don't know it as a basketball hotbed. Yeah. What I knew from Southgate High, by the way, and I played in Monroe High School, they beat us in the baseball playoffs one year, and I was like, damn, those dudes were good. And that was baseball. But what was the basketball culture like, and how did you get into basketball? Well, obviously because you're tall, but like, what was it like growing up being a hooper in Southgate?
So I started off playing soccer.
Okay.
I was playing soccer, probably like every Mexican just plays soccer, but to this day, soccer is my favorite sport. Like if I'm watching, if I watch basketball and there's a soccer game of my favorite soccer team, of course, like I'm watching the soccer game.
No kidding.
So, okay. But like, obviously I outgrew it. Like I got super tall. So I started watching, do you remember the N1 mixtapes? Like,
of course.
So like I started watching N1 mixtapes, like, used to go to Foot Action to get the free mixtape when I bought a. So it's like you buy a shirt, you get a free mixtape. So like, but I didn't know how to play basketball. Okay. I just started like, I was trying to emulate the tricks, like doing like all this stuff.
You just know it was dope. You were like just watching.
I was playing basketball the wrong way, like, so like once I get to middle school, I'm taller than everybody. I'm trying to do the tricks in the court.
Dumb question. Were you always? I mean, like as far as you can remember, you were just always the.
Yeah, I was
kid.
always the
Okay.
tallest.
Okay.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
always
Go
the
on.
So, like, the coach from the high school, like, went during like PE gym, like they come from the high school to like announce like, oh, we're gonna have tryouts. Like you should come. So like the coach saw me, I was bigger. He was like, hey, you should come try out for the basketball team.
Yeah.
And I was like, like, so my friend, he was like, let's go. My friend did play basketball. Okay. So I was like, all right, we'll go.
But you hadn't played competitive, no league, nothing.
I didn't know how to dribble. I didn't know how to. Wow. I didn't know how to shoot. I didn't know how to make a right hand layup. I didn't know how to anything.
Okay.
So I didn't know really. I just knew the N1 way.
Okay.
So like I go to the tryout, and they're like, all right, everybody, right hand layup. Couldn't do it. I'm more left-handed, so like I write with my right, but like I guess you call it kind of ambidextrous. But to like do a layup or to dunk, I do it with my left. When I go bowling, I go with the left. Wow. So like with my left, I was good. Yeah. But with the right, I couldn't do anything with my right. I couldn't dribble, like between the legs, nothing. So like during the tryout, they're like, all right, we're gonna take a water break. All right, water break. I go drink water. I thought the tryout was over, and I leave. So everybody was like, where'd he go? But that's me not knowing like what's going on. Okay. So like the next day comes and whatever, like I start getting better and better, and I go to my first basketball camp. They sent me to a camp. This when I was a little bit more advanced, I guess.
Wait, but did they put you on the team? What happened?
I made the JV team. Okay.
Were you in high school when it was like 10th grade, or were you freshman?
I was a freshman. Okay. I was a freshman, but like I got really not really good, but I advanced really well, like by practice and by listening to the coaches, like super quick. So I caught on to everything super quick. Yeah. So they're like, it's Southgate, like like we don't have like the size, so we're gonna put you in JV. Okay. Well, they wanted to put me in varsity, and I was like, I can't play varsity.
Right. Because you just learned how to play basketball.
The varsity team was actually pretty good at the time. Okay. So I was like, I can't compete with these guys. They were like strong, like, I'm like, no. So they put me in JV. I hadn't dunked at all. Okay. So like,
how tall were you? Do you remember?
I was like 6'3", 6'4". Okay. As a freshman. Damn. Okay. So like, but like I was touching rim. Like I would like try to, what they're doing now, like doing so like. I would score, like I would block. My thing was blocking shots on rebounds, because scoring was, I wasn't really good. Yeah, yeah. And we're playing our rival high school, Bell High School at the time. And the JV plays before the varsity, so the varsity is all watching us play, and we're playing our rivals. And I get the ball, and I just turn around, adrenaline, because I'm like, we're playing our rivals. My mom was there. Everything. I go up, turn around, drop step dunk, and like. I just remember like complete silence in the gym, like they hadn't seen a dunk in like 20 years probably. So like once everybody realized what was going on, like you just see like the varsity teams are like, oh my God, like everybody gets hyped up, and I'm like, okay. So like that, and then I go to my first basketball camp. I get my first letter from like a JUCO or something. Okay. I have no idea what's going on. Right, right. And my coach is like, here, this for you. I'm like, what is that? He's like, it's a letter. It could, like, if you're good enough at basketball, you get a scholarship. And I'm like, what's a scholarship? Right, okay. And he's like, well, scholarship is like, if you're good enough, you go, they'll pay for your education. Wow. And the first thing that popped into my mind was like, so I could go to college and my mom doesn't have to pay anything. All right. And that's when it clicked, and I'm like, I'm dedicating myself to playing basketball. Yes, that's good. So I was like 10th grade, 9th to 10th grade, you'd say? Yeah, 9th going into 10th, and then 10th, that's when I started taking it real serious. Damn. And that's when I'm like, all right, I'm just going to focus on this. Okay, so I know your dedication, and I know you work hard. Because again, like now I was a alum fan, when this man was playing basketball. I guess this kid at the time was playing basketball at UCLA.
And Lorenzo Mata's reputation was just hard work, cleanup, work ethic, defense, chipping in where necessary. Like that was your personality and that was your persona. So that was essentially when it clicked, was when you're like, okay, like I can make my life and my mom's life and make everybody proud of you too at the same time, but do for yourself, achieve something like that. And that's a pretty good realization. Before that, let me ask you though, what was the childhood like, just for a little bit, in Southgate? What were you like? What was the community like? What are your memories of Southgate as a kid and things like that growing up?
Yeah, well, first we grew up on Miramonte in 60 Seconds, which was like South LA, till I was like 12 or 13.
Okay.
And it was just like we're from HP, Hunting Park, we moved to South LA when I was like 4 to like 12.
Okay.
I had my friends there, and I mean, I thought it was good, you know, but like realizing, going back now, I'm like, it was what they call the hood, you know. So it was like, I remember like it used to get dark and I used to have to go home, you know, like my friends were like, oh, we have to be inside the house, and you used to hear the gunshots and like other stuff. Like there was a lot of gang activity back in the day. Like, I mean, I know there's some still now, but like back then it was.
Because it's the 90s,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
Yeah. So, but like then we would go to Southgate, and Southgate was, you know, a little better. But I had my friends. My best friend now he's LAPD. You know, he just passed his sheriff exam, so congrats on him. But like him and I, we've always been like super close. So like all the friends that I've made in Southgate since we're still close. You know.
So you were a good kid. You were
I never got in
disciplined.
trouble. Yeah, I never really got in trouble. I was actually, like, a lot of people don't know this. Like when I was like elementary school, like I used to get bullied.
Come on.
You know, like, because I was tall, lanky, but, you know, I was goofy looking. You know, like, it's like big ears, you know, like all this stuff. So like, and I was like super, like, you know, super just timid, you know, like I didn't like talking to people just because I was like shy. I'm still super shy.
Right.
You know, like you would never see me doing this like back in the day, but like I've always been like super shy, timid. So like when I was in elementary, like I was always just like keeping to myself.
Wow.
So like kids would come and like push me and doing this. I'm like, I'm not, you know.
You don't want to get caught up in it.
Yeah, like and I've always kind of like, even now, like I've always been like afraid that if I retaliate or do something, like I'm like, if I hit somebody with my strength, like I'm gonna hurt somebody.
Yeah,
you know, like,
then that's real trouble.
So like that's why I'm like, I'm not trying to put myself in that position where I'm like, I'm gonna get in trouble or have somebody like, but you know, like my mom, like I always go back to my mom, like she raised me the right way by herself and my family, that, you know, like thankfully, like I've never really dealt with any trouble in my life.
You have siblings?
No, I'm the only child. I have like a cousin that we grew up together. Her name's Raina. My mom's name's Raina, so they have the same name. But like she's like my sister because we grew up together. Like, but I'm an only child.
Same here, by the way. Were you studious? Were you good at school?
I sucked at school.
Come on.
Well, at first I was good.
Yeah.
But then when I went to middle school, like I was mid.
Yeah.
Math was my worst subject. But then high school, like, you know, like I was like a little bit unmotivated at times. My freshman year, because I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. But then once basketball started, but like my freshman year, I was like not going to class, like not. But then once like the scholarship started coming in, and I was like, all right, cool. You know.
So really click. So perfect way to circle back on that. So you see your coach is like, blah, blah, blah. It clicks for you. You're like, there it is. That was the focus. That was the moment. How did that dedication play itself out, right? So you go to basketball camps. You notice the improvement right away. You were at least studious to the game of basketball and paying attention. At what point were you like, wait, I'm good at this? Like, when did that hit you? So
my sophomore year, we were playing, you know, those like spring tournaments, summer tournaments before the season or whatever. So like, I'm like blocking everybody's shot, like playing against like ranked players that I'm like dunking on people, like averaging like 15 rebounds a game in the leagues. So it's like back in the day, they don't have a team anymore, but the brothers still exist. The Pump brothers, David and Dana Pump.
Yeah.
So like they had a team called Pump and Run. So like
big time, like AAU, is it called?
AAU club basketball.
Okay.
So like I think like the biggest one right now is like West Coast. I don't know what the.
It's always shifting that landscape.
So like they come to my high school. You know, Dana comes to my high school. I'm pretty sure that was his first time ever at Southgate High School.
Okay.
And he's like, hey, you know, it's talking to me and my coach. He's like, hey, we want you to play for Pump and Run.
Wow.
And I'm like, what is Pump and Run? You know, like, I don't know. I'm still new to all this stuff. It's like, you know, we go travel, play in the best tournaments, you know, a bunch of college coaches. And I'm like, so I'm like, all right, let me think, you know. And then what hit me when I said, okay, let's do it, was they were in Adidas program. So they were like, all right, if you decide to play with our team, he's like, all your high school team, we'll give them all bags, we'll give them all shoes, we'll do your guys' uniforms. So I'm like, and that's the type of person that I am to this day.
Yeah.
So I'm like, so everybody on my team is gonna get, you know, yeah. So all right, I'm like, all right, I'll play.
That's
so like
cool.
When I agreed, like 10 days later, like they had the sizes and everything. Like we all had our bags and Adidas shoes and all this stuff.
Come on,
so
dude.
Like, and I mean, you know, that's I've always.
Was that legal? I always wonder, is that legal? Like, how does that work with those guys? Like,
I guess it's kind of like a sponsorship type. I don't know.
But back in that day too, it was always so nebulous. Like, with the,
I mean, there was for sure some fishy stuff.
Right? Okay.
You know, like, I mean, a lot of fishy stuff going on.
Yeah.
But you know, so go to the first tournament. So my teammates were Jordan Farmar, Nick Young. We had
Farmar Fairfax.
Mario Chalmers. He would fly from Alaska to come play. We had Alex Stevenson playing North Carolina, Jared Dudley. So we had a squad.
Wow.
You know? Like we had a squad. We had this guy Enrico Tucker from San Diego who used to like had the craziest bounce ever.
Yeah.
But like we were dominating every tournament. Like we weren't losing. So, and then we played the Atlanta Celtics. At the time, they had Dwight Howard, Randolph Morris, Josh Smith, and like I think there was another podcast where Dwight Howard was on, and he mentions me without mentioning me because he was like, they had this like crazy looking Mexican that went to UCLA. He's like, that they beat us, like, you know, and we're the only team that beat the Atlanta Celtics twice in championships.
Damn.
So like that's kind of like what made me made coaches look at me just because I was guarding like the other
big man,
yeah, and they weren't really scoring, and I was just playing defense and doing that. So like once I came back from that tournament, like I started getting like, I still have like in a storage unit like 3 bins full of letters, like handwritten letters, like from like coaches. Like I have like stuff from, rest in peace, the coach that used to be at Arizona,
Lute Olson.
Yeah. I have letters from Mike Krzyzewski. Like,
Come on.
Like every university.
What's that feel like at the time, man? Like and then what's your mom saying like during, because obviously coming from Mexico, like that's a whole, not just culture shock, but that's just, even in America, that's like kind of a culture shock when that starts out. What is that like?
Well,
because these are the elite programs, elite coaches, like a high profile sport. Yeah.
My mom was kind of like me, you know, like kind of like what's going on, you know, like, so, I mean, we had a phone, like they were getting my phone number, calling my house. So my mom was answering. My mom wasn't speaking English. So like my mom was just answering like, I don't understand, you know? So like all these schools were calling me like, and then we get the letters. So I had to explain it to my mom too, and she was like, "Oh, like that's great," you know. And my mom didn't know basketball either.
Did she go to your games? Like, how was that?
She was at She went to all the home games. She went to every Final Four.
Wow.
So she flew to every Final Four.
Did she learn to like love the sport, understand the sport? Or?
Yeah, she understands it now. Even when I was playing pro, she went to go see me play a couple times. Then she went to Puerto Rico, all over Mexico.
She's like, why didn't you box that guy out? What's going on now?
But after that tournament, I was like, all right, I think I'm gonna get a scholarship. You know, so it's like I kept pushing, and going back to my freshman year where I was missing school. Once I was learning about scholarships, then UCLA got in the picture. I was like, all right, I have to make up all these classes that I have to.
Oh, wow.
Because if not, I'm not going to qualify.
Yes.
So
because UCLA, by the way, is a very fine academic institution. And I know there are other universities that may not have the same academic requirements to get in. So taking it very seriously. But okay, you get all those letters, Krzyzewski, Lute Olson, hundreds of programs. How did you pick UCLA? And what, Ben Howland recruited you directly? Like, what was the story with that?
Yeah, so it was weird because I guess at the time it was Steve Lavin, but then Steve Lavin got fired, right?
Yeah.
So UCLA wasn't really recruiting when I was playing.
Okay.
But then Ben Howland took over, and I guess I had already had visits set up because I already had it down to my final 4 or 5 schools. Yeah. So I was Oregon, Washington, Lorenzo Romar, Arizona, New Mexico, because I went and met with Danny Granger.
That was a good program. And the Pit, right? They play, or what was there?
The Pit. And Texas Tech with Bobby Knight, right? So I was like, all right, so I already had my official visits. I had taken unofficial ones.
You were number 2 power forward on the West Coast, as far as like rankings and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think in the top 100, like nationally, I was like 80 or something.
Wow, that's awesome.
So it's like, so I was going to go to Oregon. Okay, just because my boy Bryce Taylor, who actually played AAU, also his dad was our coach. Okay, so Brian Taylor played in the NBA. Great human being. His son, youngest son, is an assistant coach at UCLA now. Okay, so I'm gonna go to Oregon with Bryce. Nike school, get all the stuff.
Yeah, the Phil night.
Yep. Then pumping around. We had our last tournament. It was the best of the West tournament at Loyola Marymount. I remember. So we're playing this team from Texas, right? And they have this guy, big dude, Joey Dorsey. He played for Memphis. Okay.
Okay.
He played in the NBA for the Rockets. He 6'9", like 290 pounds.
Burly as hell. Yeah.
So I'm guarding this dude. So I remember he gets the rebound, like his defensive rebound, and he's like pushing the ball. I'm running back. I take a charge in the top of the key, right? He's like running full speed. He hits me in the chest. I slide from top of the key all the way to the bottom of the rim. Yeah. Take the charge. After that game, the coaches for UCLA called me. They're like, "Hey, we just saw, and this is the type of player we're looking for at UCLA. You took a charge." He's like, "You're putting your body out there." He's like, "We want to offer you a scholarship to UCLA." With one play, they hadn't sent me a letter. Oh, nothing. So they hadn't seen me play because there's a new new coaching staff.
Yeah.
One play, I took a charge. After that game, I get a call, 310 number. Yeah. And I'm like, who's calling me? And it's Coach Daniels, the assistant coach at UCLA. He's like, "Hey, I'm here with Ben. We just saw you play against, I forget the team name. It's like, we saw you take a charge. That's the type of players we're looking for at UCLA. We want you to be part of our first recruiting class. We want to offer you a scholarship." And I was like, oh, damn. In my head, I was like, yeah, You know, like,
You're like, I'm in. Let's go. Let's go.
I want to go there, but then I'm like, I have this other visit set up. Like, I don't know what, like, how.
And you were like locked into Oregon.
So I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Like, do I call the other schools? Like, hey, I'm no longer coming. You know, like, so like I told them, like, I kept it cool, and I was like, yeah, let me think about it. You know, like, but in my head, I was like, yeah, I want to go there. You know, so it's like, the next day, like I call him back and I'm like, hey, well, because they told me like it's between you and there was this other player, David Paget or David Burgess. There's another big dude.
Wait, they told you? They like literally...
they're like, well, it's between you and this guy.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So they're like, and I think that other guy ended up going to like Louisville or something.
Okay.
And he ended up like it's like injury prone and like not really doing anything. So like the next day I called him, like, I don't know what am I supposed to say? Like, I want to come there. Like, I'm committed to you guys.
Yeah.
Like, and they're like, all right, great. So like, then they set up a visit. I go, everything. And I mean, best decision I've ever made.
That's okay. So I wanted a little bit about the recruiting. We're already burning up so much time. This is so dope. But you had all these schools, you had all these visits on the radar. Mm-hmm. Did you have to formally cancel? Like why UCLA? Because they saw that play or because it was local? Why did you just know that you're like, yeah, I'm in, even though you had maybe your heart set or at least open to all these other places?
Well, I talked to the Pumps and like other people that, you know, were getting recruited and stuff. And I was like, how do I tell these other schools that I'm going to go to UCLA? And they're like, once you commit to a school, they're going to know. And they were like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
They're like, all right. So they'll just go on to the next one. And I'm like, okay. But I mean, I chose UCLA just, you know, I want to stay close to home, stay at home, have all my friends, my family, be able to go watch me play. You know, it was like, I was probably still like one of the first from Southgate in that area to get a D1 basketball scholarship. Cool, so it's like, still, you know, like and they still talk about it, you know, and it's to me, it's like I would do it over and over and over again.
Were they proud at Southgate? Like, did you feel that at the time, even in high school, like once you had committed and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was, they were really proud. I mean, just cause, I mean, I remember when I signed my letter of intent, like they made it a huge deal where they did like a whole like little party, me signing, like all my high school teammates were there.
Did you throw the hat on and do that whole deal? Or
so I think I don't remember where I was. I think I had like a shirt or something. But everybody was there. My parents were there, like, you know, well, my mom and it was like my family, my cousins. So, I mean, it was great.
Okay, so let's get to UCLA. So you get to Westwood. First of all, what was that transition like from Southgate to Westwood? Let's be honest here. Different culture, different community, different demographic. How was that adjustment? Or was there a period of adjustment? Or was it just because basketball, you're in, I'm here, let's go?
No, it was definitely an adjustment, you know, just because, I mean, the Mexican culture, we're super family oriented, like super close. So you want to be around everybody. Yeah. And like now you're over here at UCLA in the dorms, you know, like I'm in a dorm in a suite at UCLA. Like my suite mate, well, it's a 2-bedroom suite. So it's two per the room. So it's me and Aaron Aflalo.
Okay.
And then the other one, it's Josh Shipp and Jordan Farmar. So we're all living together.
Nice core right there. Let's go.
Like,
yeah.
But everybody's kind of like doing their own thing, you know. So me, like I'm timid, I'm shy, so I'm just doing whatever I got to do, like go to class.
What was your major, by the way?
History.
Okay.
So I'm going to class, blah blah, and you know, kind of want to go to a party or two, just with a couple other guys, just to try to fit in. You know, try to fit in. But I mean, it was definitely an adjustment. But once you start, you know, basketball is time consuming. So it's like you go to basketball, you go to class, and you go to class, you go to study hall, then you go to study hall, you go to tutoring. So it's like it's on a schedule. You know, you're on a schedule. you don't really have time for anything really. But I adjusted pretty well. So, I mean, I think it wasn't that bad.
And being close, I guess getting homesick wasn't like really. I mean, again, you're still, 20 miles? What's that, 15 miles?
Yeah.
And again, LA, look, everywhere's far. Everywhere's close, but everywhere's far, right? So, okay, that's pretty dope. So you adjust. Dude, let's talk about those teams. Jordan Farmar, Luke Mbamute, Kevin Love, Russ Westbrook, Josh Shipp, Aaron Aflalo, Lorenzo Mata. Those were some teams, man. And again, back-to-back Final Fours. Tell me about that experience and when you stepped on that campus playing ball. When did you know you're like, okay, we're legit? Like, how did that hit you? Did you know right away? Like,
I mean, our first year, obviously, we weren't really good because it was Ben's
first class, yeah.
But I think we still overachieved just because we made the tournament. We lost in the first round to Texas Tech, I think. But I don't think anybody expected us to make the tournament the first year. Then the second year, everybody's back. We're like, all right, everybody's back. We get Luke Mbamute, we get Alfred Aboya. So we get some more pieces that, and the season starts, we're just rolling, They're like, all right, we could make a run. But, and we get Cedric Bozeman back because he redshirted because
that dude was supposed
he
to
had
be
torn his ACL.
Amazing. Magic Johnson caliber, they were hollering with him.
So we get him back my sophomore year, and, so we're just rolling. And I think my sophomore year, people didn't really think we were going to make a run.
And it was a different kind of basketball team because I came from the UCLA era of Steve Lavin. I'll be honest. I know I'm in the minority. I was a fan of Steve Lavin. He recruited his ass off. But that style of game, he was scoring 100 points plus, it's LA, it's showtime, baby. That's the kind of ball I like. And my UCLA Bruin friends were like, bro, they just lose the big one though. You can't just roll it out there and be like, go outscore those guys. And eventually that's why I was fired. And Howland was all about defense, discipline. If I'm not mistaken, you guys held Oregon to 44 points one game or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah.
And again, winning makes fans happy over anything, but it was a different style of ball and it was a winning style of ball. So, okay, so you guys, people are maybe not taking it as seriously because they're like, oh, they win 69-63, when it used to be 108 to 80 or something. But so go on.
So sophomore year, where we get in the tournament, I don't forget who we played. Maybe we were state. I don't know. So we beat first round, second round, we get through second round. And then we're like, all right, Sweet 16. All right, let's go. Hold
on. How does it feel playing in the NCAA tournament?
Oh, it's incredible. Because, if you go to Poly is what, 13,000 maybe?
Roughly, yeah.
But you go to NCAA tournament, it's 19,000, 20,000 people. And then you just hear the fans just it's a whole different atmosphere.
And I'll be the first to say, as a UCLA fan alum, Poly is dope. It's historic. John Wooden, all that. So many banners. The atmosphere is a little light, for my opinion. I think it's kind of the seating and the arrangement, even the new way they did it. Seats are weird angled, kind of far away. It's not one of those rabid, you can't hear, crazy type of arenas.
Well, yeah, I think it's also, Westwood's far. And now it's even harder for fans to get there with the Big Ten games. The times are so weird, because you have to, I guess the games are East Coast time, so you have to play earlier or whatever. So it's on a Wednesday night, it's hard to get to Poly Pavilion for a 6 p.m. game.
Yes.
So it's you're not gonna, especially if you have a job, you work, you get off at 3, you're not gonna make it to Westwood for tip off or whatever. So but fans will show out if it's I feel it's everywhere kind of. Like if it's a big game, like a ranked game, like fans are gonna show out.
Of course.
But like if it's like a game where UCLA should win by like 20, like they'll go, but they won't be as rowdy or
and the LA fans.
Credit to the student section though. Ever since like now, like they're awesome. Like the student section has a bigger kind of like section now, and they've been great.
Good job, students. Good job.
When I was there, we had a small student section. They were rowdy, but like now they have, it's bigger, so like they get more rowdier.
Yeah,
and it's good.
But take me through selection, especially because this is tournament week. Selection Sunday. You guys are literally like getting together, waiting for the seed. What's that like? Everybody's hyped. Everybody's nervous. Like, do you have an idea kind of what your seating's going to be? How's that work? Well, Coach Howland is like, calm down, or like, it doesn't matter. We got to be. What's that like? Take me through a Selection Sunday.
Well, my sophomore year, I think that was one of the ones where we were like, we don't know where we're going to get seated, because so we did get together. We're together. Eating ribs, like, and then we get the seeding. But like junior year and senior year, like we kind of knew we were gonna be a number one seed just because we were good.
Yeah.
So we're like, we won the tournament. It's like we're number one in the country. We're number two.
You were Pac-10 or Pac-12, by the way?
Pac-10.
Okay.
We were Pac-10.
Pac-10, legit.
So like,
R.I.P.
we were the OGs.
Bro. Okay.
So like. But like you still get together, you see who you're gonna play, like what the road is gonna be like, and credit to my guy Doug Erickson. He's the director of basketball ops there, which I don't know, it might be his last year this year. He's been there for 25, 30 plus years, but he's great. So as soon as the bracket comes out, like he goes and sets up the tapes, like of the opponents, and gets all the videos of like potential like opponents. And it's like, all right, I got all these games for Texas Tech or Florida, So they still do now, like where they record every basketball game just in case, like in the tournament you go and play a McNeese State that you've never seen, So like I have 6 games McNeese State playing against. Right. So like Doug will go and get all the tapes, and so like credit to him, but the coaches work their butts off.
So take me on the road with your tournament. Let's just use this year, right? UCLA is playing Utah State in Lexington, potentially Tennessee, then Kentucky. Et cetera, et cetera. So this as a player, right? Let's just say that's the bracket. First thing, homework, or is it like Selection Sunday? Boom, we got to see practice time. Take me like down that road, travel, all that.
Yes, you do Selection Sunday. You see who you're playing. The coaches go and do their video, break down everything. Then we'll have practice the next day. Kind of like going over the other team's plays and their best players and all that stuff. And then depending on where we're going, like say if the game's Thursday, we'll leave on Tuesday and go get acclimated, relax, practice again there, and then have a walkthrough in the hotel, like a ballroom. So like they'll put the tape on the floor. Like the student manager do like a whole full court with tape on the ballroom.
That is cool.
And
okay.
Coach Howland was super attention to detail.
Oh, heck yeah.
So like we had to be super like we had to be paying attention to every detail that he's, because if you messed up a little bit, we have to do it all over again. So it was like everything had to be perfect, like everything, which helped us a lot,
That's why you guys won so much.
But like, so you do all that to prepare. You watch film, like they'll put a scouting report under your door with all the players, the plays, like what your job is as a player, like so it's a lot of information.
You guys holding each other accountable. Nobody's screwing around on the road. Everybody knows. Everybody focused.
You kind of have to be loose a little bit, but like once you're practicing, once you're doing the prep stuff, like you gotta be serious and be paying attention, because if one guy messes up, then it messes up the whole team.
Ooh, and now you're in the dance. You're winning ball games. Boom, you win the first round, win the second round. Now you're in the Sweet 16. At what point are you like, yo, we could go all the... I mean, I'm sure you got that mentality. We could go all the way. But like every round, this is, again, why I love the tournament so much, is because there's just such a level of hype. It's almost like... Again, I don't even want to say Super Bowl because it's different. It's more intimate. It's more emotional with college basketball because you're really playing for your school. You're playing for the kids that go to the school are like so intertwined with this. It's not even like being a fan of the Dodgers is great and I love it. And you know, it's my team. But like when it's UCLA, you're like, dude, like that's my boy. Like I see him on campus, like high five. Like it's just something. So every round you're getting there. So Sweet 16, different thing. Elite 8. Talk to me about the Final Fours and talk to me about Florida, man. You guys nemesis. Florida beat you twice, right?
Twice, yeah.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah, so you know, you get through the first round, you go back to school campus. Then there's teachers that, hey, great job, you know, professors, hey, great, you know, ready for the next one. So like, I think since we're quarter at UCLA, we're quarters, right? So like, there was times where we would be on the road, like Elite 8 or whatever, and we'd be like in finals or midterms. So like,
always heard that.
There'd be like 4 of us in a room, like taking a midterm or a final, like right before a game, you know. And it was like, and that was like, you know, whatever. Like it's tough, but you got to do what you got to do. But like there'll be some professors who are like, oh, you know, just wait. You know, you're good. Focus on the game. Cool. But like some of them were like, you know, we're not doing it for all the other guys. You can't do it for you.
Yeah. Which I get it.
Which is understandable, but like, you know, cut us a break. But yeah, man, you know, once Sweet 16, we see the matchups, we're rolling already, so we have our confidence up. And then Elite 8, I think there was one where we played Pitt, which was Coach Allen's old school.
Oh, yeah.
And then I forget what was Gonzaga to go to the Elite Eight, I think, which is one of the best college basketball games, I think, so to this day, where we came back down like 18 or 21.
Was that the Adam Morrison game?
Yeah, where he started crying.
Adam Morrison crying. But
like, yeah, I mean, you know, once you get to the Final Four, it's a whole different world, you know.
Where it's even amped up more.
Yeah, it's like, you know, you got to do kind of like, you know, every big sporting event, you got to do the media, you got to do like your videos for the TV, like all this stuff. And it's like, man, like we're here. Like the first time we got there, we're like, damn, this is dope, you know? And it's like, you want to be there again, you know, like you just want to keep winning. So like the first year, my sophomore year, that we get to the championship game against Florida, like nobody expected us to be there. So we're like, we're here, might as well, let's win it. You know, we're already here. Like nobody, I think we're like a 7 seed or something. And I mean, unfortunately, you know, Florida with Noah, Horford,
right?
Corey Brewer, you know.
Those are great squads, man.
Lee Humphrey, I forget their names, but like they had a squad, you know. And I was like, they beat us. It's heartbreaking, but we're like, all right, you know, these guys are going to the NBA next year.
Yeah,
Horford, Noah, Brewer, like cool, like we're getting all our squad back. So next year, let's run it back, you know, because we have that we know we're good enough. But now they're all coming back, you know. And I was like, why? You know, like why? That's like, you guys are all lottery picks. Like, why do you want to come back like to school? Like, go get your money.
Yeah,
you know. When they come back, we end up seeing them again in the semifinal this time, and same thing happens. But I'm like, man, like it's one of those things where, you know, great experiences, you know, and then senior year we lose to Derrick Rose. But it's one of those
Memphis, right?
Memphis, yeah. But it's one of those experiences where, you know, unreal. Like, I mean, not a lot of people could say they went to 3 straight Final Fours.
I don't even know how many it's got to be. Less than a handful, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, outside your team, yeah.
I mean, it was amazing.
Any regrets about your career at UCLA?
I feel like my senior year, well, my junior year, I was in the draft boards.
Yeah.
I was like in the second round draft boards and all the draft boards because it was my best year. And I think that was the first year where you could go to the draft, do the workouts, test it out, see what they say about you.
Yeah.
And if not, you could come back to school. So like, I didn't know anything, I didn't have an agent or anything. So I should have gone after my junior year because I would have got drafted by a second round team. But I didn't. I came back because I was told different
conflicting, man.
Scenarios
Probably
were gonna
got so many people in here.
different scenarios were going to happen next year. I was going to play, etc., which didn't happen. But and another one was my senior year. I should have redshirted just because Kevin Love was coming in.
Oh, that was that year.
And I didn't really play much. So I was like, I should have redshirted my senior year and come back because he was there for 1 year.
Wow.
And came back the following year, So like, I should have redshirted that's probably when one of the ones where I didn't get the correct advice.
Yeah.
Or not even advice.
No, it's tough to anticipate that.
Not even advice.
Yeah. Have.
Not even advice. I think the coaches at UCLA kind of played it by ear just because they had said I was going to play a lot alongside Kevin and then also it turned out that Luke Mbamute was supposed to go to draft and he came back to school, so that kind of like
took away the play.
Messed it up for me a little bit. I mean, I love Luke. I just saw Luke like a couple weeks ago. We're supposed to go golfing too, but circumstances change and stuff happens where and that's life, I guess.
It's true. It's a good way to look at it. Okay, so after UCLA, you did end up playing some pro ball, and you did end up playing for the Mexican national team. Mm-hmm. How did that feel, throwing that jersey on, especially with your relationship with your mom and like being an LA American dream story, what you guys have accomplished coming to LA, coming to the United States? What was that like? How did that come together?
I mean, first of all, to me, representing Mexico in basketball was a dream, like it was a huge accomplishment to me, like even bigger than going to UCLA, just because that's where my family's from, that's where my mom's from. But like, I think when I was a sophomore going to junior year, I think that's the Mexican Federation at the time approached me and came to a game or a phone call, and they're like, hey, like, get your Mexican passport, we'll help you, because you could get dual citizenship. So I have my dual citizenship. I was able to get my passport, and I was supposed to go play. They played Olympic qualifiers in Vegas where Mexico played against USA, Kobe, and all that stuff. But I ended up needing a cleanup on my knee, just like a arthroscopic surgery, and I didn't end up going. But that's where the contact started, and I was like, yeah, I want to go play, So I didn't end up going to the national team until I finished college.
Okay.
My first tournament was like, it's called Chetumal. It's somewhere in Cancun, and I played against Dominican Republic, and they had Horford.
Oh, okay.
So like this was after the championship,
meet again, bro. Yeah.
And we playing them. We beat Dominican Republic. So I was like, a little bit of payback,
Okay,
But
there you go.
But just putting the jersey on, it was great, And at the time, it was crazy just because now everybody's cool, but like at the time, the players, Mexican born, like they weren't really fond of the idea of having an Mexican American playing.
Were you the only one, by the way?
Yeah, at the time, I think yes. And there was one more, I think, but like I was like the one that stood out just because of who I was.
Yeah.
And And they're like, oh yeah, like, you know, they can't be, they call it pocho. So like a pocho with the national team, like he was not even born here. But like, to me, like, I'm like, and I say this all the time, like, I'm more Mexican than, you know, like, just if my blood, my heart, like, you know, that being born there wasn't gonna make me more Mexican than I am now. You know,
Right.
like, just like, if you go, like I said, like if you go to where my mom and my dad are from, like you're gonna be like, oh damn. But yeah, it's Mexican culture to the
Plus,
bone,
you have that
you know?
heart, man.
Yeah,
like
so-
you have that heart, you have that mentality. Did you end up getting ingratiated? I mean, like,
I think after that, everybody just because the way I played and
that's
you
what
know,
I'm
like
saying, your style, man.
and then you know
It's endearing.
the influences I brought, you know, like people started, you know, I played in the Mexican League, so I was supposed to go to France and a team in France in Lyon, whatever. And then a team from Mexico approached me like as I was getting my contract from France, and they were like, hey, you know, we'll offer you double the money to go to Mexico. And I was like, there's a basketball league in Mexico? They were like, yeah. Like it was like kind of like just starting to like get going. So I'm like, all right, you know, I'm going to Mexico. My family could go see me play over there. So like I went over there, and then that's when I kind of like was playing my first tournament with the national team. But like the league was, you know, nobody really knew about it. And still to this day, like I think like I'm a big part of the turnaround of people like turning and looking at that league, just because in 2011 with the national team, we played in the Pan American Games.
Okay.
They hadn't won any type of medal in like 30 something years. So we, for some reason, that's when I guess X or Twitter back in the day, it was blowing up. So played a game against USA.
Okay.
We beat them, right? We hadn't beat USA in so long. And so after the game, the media, somebody asked me, like, hey, how does it feel to be a worldwide trending topic on Twitter? And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah. He's like, you're on Twitter, you're like the best, the most talked about basketball player like in the world.
That's so
and I'm like, no. I'm like, no way. So I told my boy, I'm like, hey, let me see the iPad.
Yeah.
So he brings me that. And I remember this vividly just because like before the game, I was like on Twitter. I had 380 something followers. After that game, like I checked, I had like 8,000 followers.
Whoa.
So I was like, oh, no way. You know? So like I had all like these like celebrities like tweeting like all this stuff. So like after that, like everybody's kind of like looking at Mexican basketball, you know, like I made a hashtag called the 12 Guerreros, which is the 12 Warriors.
Yeah.
So like, which is still being used to this day with the current basketball team, you know? And it's like, I don't think basketball gets the eyes, basketball in Mexico gets the eyes it gets if kind of like, if I don't give a little push, you know? And then obviously we had another player, Gustavo Ayllón, which is to me considered like the best basketball player in Mexico.
Okay.
Because he went to Real Madrid, won EuroLeague MVPs, won titles over there, played in the NBA, and he's still super close to me. And so him and I think are right there on why basketball in Mexico are where it is now.
It's a dope legacy. So segue into Jamie Jaquez. UCLA led their resurgence in this Mick Cronin era. Mexican basketball player, followed in your footsteps, to be honest, has gone on to the NBA to do some wonderful things. Do you have a relationship with him? Did he reach out to you, or was there any connection when he was at UCLA? How did that play out?
Yeah, I mean,
because again, in LA, I got to reinforce that is such an important connection, man. Like LA, Mexican, UCLA basketball, like let's go.
Yeah, I think I heard of Jaime when he was still in high school.
Camarillo or something.
Camarillo, yeah. I started following following his career. Then once I saw he was going to UCLA, I got hyped. Yeah, I mean, we have a relationship like him. His family is great. His dad, Jaime Sr.
Sister, a big time hooper too. Yeah.
They're favorites for this year.
Yes, number 1 overall seed. Can't forget the women, man. And USC. Gotta say, Juju.
Yeah.
Okay.
Always, checking in. His dad's always he was at a couple of the games this year for UCLA. Mom is great, like the whole family, but like Jaime, I think he carries himself like the right way. Like, he was raised amazing. You just see the way he plays, he's a hard worker, like, and to me, like, I'm super proud of what he's done and where he's going, like he sponsored by Jordan, like you never see this type of things, but super proud but yeah, I mean, we have a relationship where, like I'm not, like I tell this to everybody, like I don't ask anybody for anything, like but like him, like they reach out, like if I need anything, all the time, and that's all you can ask for, even if you don't need it, like that's little like, hey, you okay, you doing good, and it goes both ways, because I'll do the same thing, like, hey, you good, like, if you ever need somebody to talk to, like, because you never know what somebody's going through also,
right?
So
for sure. What advice do you have for any Mexicans playing basketball that want to aspire to play D1 or higher, man, or that just want to hoop like in LA and beyond?
Yeah, I just think if that's what you really want to do, you gotta keep working, and I tell them, like D1 is not the only option, like you go JUCO first, like, the kid from Lakers, Dalton Connect, went JUCO, then went.
Oh, we did. I didn't even know that.
Then went to a different school, I think, and then transferred to Tennessee. So there's different paths, So like, if you don't get a D1 scholarship from the bat, like go JUCO or go D3 or go to a school, and if they're gonna help you with your education, like get your education, because you never know, like what happens tomorrow. You could go outside and break your ankle, so you could have something to fall back on, like, and to me, like I learned that the hard way, so like now I kind of don't want kids to make the mistakes I made, so I'm trying to kind of like push that towards them, so they don't, because basketball could be played at any type of school.
But you still accomplished a shitload, man. You should be proud of everything, proud of your legacy. I know UCLA fans, you mentioned something to me last time we talked that I remember. I forget if it was alumni night or senior night or something, but you got announced out on the court and it was like standing people going crazy. Like, this dude is one of the most popular alum at a school that has banners, jerseys up in the rafters. Like, you meant a lot to UCLA basketball, school, the city of Los Angeles, still do. I mean, what does that mean to you? And what do you see as your legacy, or what do you want your legacy to be, I guess?
No, I mean, it means the world to me, just because, being recognized for the hard work, for what I gave to the university. Like, I don't think people realize everything I sacrificed and gave, and but like, my legacy, I don't think it's over.
Yeah.
But
Good.
for I just want them to remember me as, the hardest working player, I think, ever to step on that in Poly Pavilion, just because I don't think anybody will ever, even to this day, like, if I want something, like, I'm gonna work hard for it.
Yes.
Like, I don't think there's anybody that's ever gonna outwork me.
That's awesome. Okay. In closing, give me 2 predictions. All right. I'm going to start with the men, just because I think that's where it's a little bit lighter. So, like we said, UCLA 7 seed against Utah State. How far are they getting in the tournament?
I think, and I hope, Sweet 16.
Okay, that means beating Tennessee, by the way.
which is going to be super tough. Yeah.
But this year's team, look, we know Cronin could coach his ass off. And this year's team has had moments. And I'm always texting my buddies. I'm like, they look like they could beat anybody, man. When Mara's playing, and like Billadow's doing what he's got to do, and like Mac and Sky Johnson, all that. There's a lot of talent out there, but they also play down to anybody's level too. And then this Big Ten tournament against Wisconsin, they look like terrible. So, I mean, what do you think? Sweet 16?
I think Sweet 16. I think they go a bigger lineup. They go Mara, Bilodeau, Kobe Johnson.
Mac.
The guards, yeah, you could.
Stefanovic.
You could go in there. I mean, I think I play Tyler Perry a little more because to me, Tyler Perry defense is butt off.
Yeah.
But I think they'll go Mac, probably Andrews.
Okay.
To me, Andrews could be a really great defender. So if he just sets his like eyes on defending and being like a point guard,
Yeah.
UCLA has a great shot. Just because offensively he's been struggling, unless he like miraculously wakes up.
Right.
But like
right.
he could defend his if he just defends. I think what's the kid's name at Tennessee? Ziegler.
Okay.
Like because everything goes kind of through Ziegler.
Right.
So like
Shut him down.
just defend them, just deny him the ball. Like I think if you go that lineup, stay out of foul trouble. I think Tennessee gets beat by UCLA.
Now, following your footsteps, then you guys were a 7 seed, Sweet 16. Once you get there, anything can happen, right?
Yeah,
the magic starts.
I mean, once you're there, you're already believing in yourself in the beginning, but like once you get past the so-called best team on there,
yeah,
or one of the best teams, like you start believing more. You know, like you're like, all right, you're like we're good enough. Like it's a matter of like the whole team, and you know, it starts with the coaching staff, like kind of like giving them the right information and the right plays and scouting report. But I think, you know, to me, it's always been March Madness, the tournament of who ends the season playing the best.
Yeah. And
UCLA obviously got their butts kicked.
Yeah.
But like, I think it's a new season. It's 0-0. So like anything could happen.
Okay, now the women's squad, number 1 overall seed, as we were saying. Lauren Betts, unbelievable player. Are they going to win it all?
Oh, I think so. They have to meet USC again, right? They're in the same bracket?
No, I know USC is a 1 seed, so I think it would be, I don't know if they're, let me check. Hold on.
In the Final Four, though.
Let's see. They would meet.
In the Final Four.
Oh, damn. They would meet in the Final Four. Yeah. Ooh, that's going to be great.
That's good for TV.
That is great for the sport, to be honest with you, man. Because, let's see, USC won the first 2, and then UCLA won in the conference tourney, right?
No, I think
USC swept the season series.
Yeah.
So that's going to be good. So UCLA, hey, I'll take that first all-time women's banner to go up with the copious amount of John Wooden +1 banners. UCLA men haven't won since 95. You know that?
That's wild.
Like blue blood program, you guys brought them back to the limelight, but 30 years, man.
30 years.
Something. But, dude, well, listen, Lorenzo El Matador Mata, pride of Huntington Park, South LA, Southgate, Westwood, UCLA, and now in the IM studios in the heart of Los Angeles. Thank you so much for coming in, man. This was a lot of fun. I could spend a lot more time with you, and I really appreciate this, man. Thank you for being here.
Thank you guys, and go Bruins.
Go Bruins. All right, y'all. It's been a minute.